Okay, welcome to the ICA guide. Here it shows the story of Loveless. Loveless, the original one from the 30s, who started in Detroit, but then in the late 20s saw that the stock market was getting a little bubbly and went out to LA with his family to start this fund, Investment Company of America. Here's ICA against cash and some other investments. Let's go back. Here's the famous story of the Boons and the Clausens. And you can't read this very well, but the Boons always do better than the Clausens. 20 years of equity investing, especially a well-managed growth and income mutual fund versus somebody who bought cash, especially for income. Cash or bonds. So stocks always beat bonds over a 20-year period. These are all of the holdings in the ICA guide. I know it's blurry. It's not designed for you to be able to see, but to show you that I know the guide pretty well. So this is, for example, the amount that you own in the fund year to year. So you would own, as you could see, of Conco Resources, $85, as you would own $85 at Cigna, Thermo Fisher, so on and so forth. Here are the 30 companies of the Dow. And if you were to pick a combination of 5 companies, there's no combination of 5 companies. In other words, your own mutual fund that beats ICA, and that's with the benefit of hindsight. And these managers didn't have the benefit of hindsight. This is the management team here. So you'll see Joyce Gordon has been at the helm for 40 years with the same fund. I think that's, well, it works for magic over time. So good management over time. These are headlines and reasons not to invest any particular year, right? Like the Gulf War or an oil embargo or something like the end of the Vietnam War from 73 into 74, 2-year bear market. And this is the ICA guide growth chart. And you can see if it was drawn to scale how much taller than the Empire State Building it would be. Most modern buildings. This is the story of Louis the loser versus Vinny the victor. They actually don't say who this is, but if you could pick the best or worst day to invest in a year, what would it be? Well, if you pick the best day, it'd be the market low of the year. If you pick the worst day, it'd be the market high of the year. But even picking the market high every year, Louis the loser, because he invested for 20 years straight, still made good money. Not nearly as good as Vinny, but he still did pretty good. This is what if the market moves sideways, which it's done on occasion, right? Including from the early 70s to the early 80s, where the market was flat. The S&P 500 index was flat, but not the fund, because you reinvested dividends and had professional management. Here, rolling time periods. So you can see there's never been a 10-year time period where this fund has less money at the end than the beginning, right? Here is different periods, rolling periods, and the best you would have done, the worst you would have done, and the median you would have done. And you could see, as long as you invest for at least 25 years, you could see even your worst case scenario is a double-digit gain, 8.8% per year. This is a couple who invested for 15 years, so pre-retirement, and then took income from their portfolio for 20 years, and what the results would have been, actual results using the fund. These are different ways to extrapolate income from a fund, whether you take dividends in cash or you just take a smooth 4% distribution or whatever the balance was at the end of every year. Maybe you can do 5 or 6%, it depends. And this is the fund against cash, the S&P 500 index, and which one did better every year out of the 3. And you could see, right, the ICA guide relative to the stock market and cash usually wins. Cash wins out 22% of the time, which is kind of scary in 86 years. But if you're fully invested over that 86-year period, you become a multimillionaire, even if you only invest $1,000 back in 34. And then this is basically the company. If you could invest in this company, wouldn't you? Business for 86 years, $103 billion of assets under management, $5.2 billion in reserves of cash or cash equivalents. That's a lot of dry powder to make investments when the markets go sideways. And invested in a bunch of different industries. Management team of 8 portfolio managers with a median 10 years of experience. A combined 80 years, or 86 years closer. Really, when you combine all their experience, it's a couple centuries. So imagine a fund that lasted as long as America, 247 years. Paid a dividend every year since 1936, often with increasing dividends. So that's a mutual fund guide in less than 5.5 minutes. The best piece in the industry. Hope you enjoyed that. I did. I always love showing it.